Welcome back to It Starts Now, the happy hour of finance and business. My name is Stan Lane. And once again, I would like to thank everybody for tuning in. And we do definitely appreciate all the subscriptions, all the views, and the likes. It definitely makes a difference on our page, and we want to continue to bring you some awesome content. I had the opportunity to sit down with Brett Martin. Brett is an extraordinary guy. He has extensive background. Brett is the co-founder of Kumospace, and we sat down. We had the opportunity to talk and discuss a lot of the future of Kumospace, and the progress that it made since the start of 2020, from the beginning of the pandemic to where its current stage is right now, and the things that he's looking to do with the business. He also moonlights at University of Columbia. He has such an extensive background. He's able to share certain things because he had so many different aspects to business. He's ran businesses, he started businesses, he had a few exits. He has an extensive portfolio of investments. He's able to speak on certain verticals of the business because he touched on multiple facets of it. But we also discuss his background, what got him into entrepreneurship. We also discuss what it takes and the grit and the determination to stay on the path or sustain the path of becoming an entrepreneur. And there was so much value that he was able to share. I think that it's going to not only have an impact on you as well as it had an impact on me, but I think he's able to shift your perspective when it comes to entrepreneurship and how we view things. We were able to capture this interview via Zoom. Unfortunately, he couldn't come to the studio. We were trying to make it work. We hope that in the future we're able to get Brett into the studio so that way we can have a discussion with him. You'll definitely get some value from it. And if you do like it, please hit the like, the comment, or share. We'd definitely appreciate it. And once again, thank you guys for tuning in. Check out the video. Thanks for being patient so we can get started. Please let the viewers know exactly who you are and what you are about and what companies that you have right now and what current things that you got going on.
Oh, good. Well, thanks for having me, Stanley, and excited to have the opportunity to chat. This is Brett Martin here. I'm the sort of founder of Charge Ventures, the New York-based pre-seed venture capital fund. Got about 65 portfolio companies. Started in 2015. Just raised our third fund. We write sort of 250 to 750K checks into companies just getting off the ground. So we like to say, there's nothing too early for Charge Ventures. We like to invest with friends, family, and fools, and Charge Ventures. That's kind of our sweet spot. We do a lot of creator economy investing. We invested in a bunch of data analytics, machine learning companies, and crypto and healthcare. Sounds sort of disparate, but those are all things that the team has built in before because we're all entrepreneurs. I'm also the co-founder and president of Kumospace. It's a virtual office solution for remote teams where remote teams show up to work every day. So we've got several million users using that, tens of thousands of teams at all sorts of big companies, Google, Amazon, Shopify, government of Canada, using Kumospace as like the place where their teams show up when they're not in the office. So it's your office in the cloud. And I guess finally, I am also the adjunct professor at Columbia Business School, and I teach tech strategy there as well as analytics in action, which is an applied data science class. So that keeps me pretty busy. Just always love spending time with entrepreneurs, people trying to change the world, build something new, make it a little better. Those are my people, so I'm lucky I get to spend 12, 16 hours a day with them.
So earlier, I wanted to know how you made that transition from becoming an analyst on Wall Street to actually starting companies and becoming a serial entrepreneur? Like, how was that transitional period, and what made you say this is the thing that I wanted to get involved in?
Yeah, so I'm from a small mid Atlantic beach town called Ocean City, Maryland. It's cotton candy, pound cakes, boardwalk rides, haunted houses, stuff like that. And so I grew up actually selling seashells by the seashore. My dad and I used to take me over to the bay, which is about an hour and a half away. We'd go buy a bushel of dirty conch shells that the fishermen would dredge up when they were getting crabs, and they would take them home, clean them off, put them in bleach them for a few days, make them nice and white, and then sell them to tourists. What tourist doesn't want to buy $1 conch shell from a cute little kid? And so that's how I got my entrepreneurial taste. And I was going really well. I had my younger sister who was a really amazing worker. She's actually much more diligent than I am, and so I signed her up to payroll, and I was paying her $1 an hour, and then selling these conch shells for $1 until my parents found out, and they made me split it equity, made us equal equity partners. And it was a good lesson. One is you always treat your family right, and two, it's like this is a good way to make money. So I went to school up at Dartmouth in New Hampshire, and then I would say I didn't really, I knew I was going to do entrepreneurship, but I didn't have a clear plan, and so I kind of just followed the crowd, and I was a equity research analyst at a investment bank called Thomas Weisel Partners. It's a kind of tech-focused investment bank right out of college. And I put in my 2 years of service at the bank. And, Wall Street's full of a lot of people in tech like to talk trash about Wall Street. I mean, I personally don't. I actually think that you learn a lot. It's great training. People have amazing work ethic, amazing attention to detail. And one of the things I like about Wall Street is that everyone knows what they're there for, and that's the Skrilla, and the paper chase. There's no mixing. Everyone's very clear about that, right? And so when people on Wall Street, fuck you, they look you right in the eye and they say, I'm gonna fuck you and take the money. And that's one of the things I like about Wall Street. They're very clear why they're there. One of my complaints about tech is that sometimes people do it for a bunch of different reasons. They think do it because it's cool. They do it because there's a lot of money there. They do it because of the fame, and they do it because they maybe want to change the world. And there's a lot of obfuscation about what people's real intentions are. So Wall Street is, it's nice to learn clarity. But that said, I'm not actually particularly driven by money. I really like building things, and I think Wall Street is really more about value capture than it is value creation. It's more about, okay, how do we take an existing system and capture as much value from it as possible, which is obviously a cool skill to have, but not that interesting for me personally. So ever since then, I've been building or investing in early stage tech. And, I went on and started a few companies, and then ultimately, my own fund, Charge. And so Charge is all entrepreneurs and investing in entrepreneurs. And so I get, a great way of I get to build my company with my co-founder Yang Mao, who's the CEO of Kumospace, and we're building our virtual office solution. But then we also, have Charge Ventures, and that enables us to just partner with other entrepreneurs that we think are doing awesome shit, give them some money, really try to do everything we can and help them, succeed. And then, maybe a few of them change the world, and we all get rich in the process. It's a pretty fun job. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a phenomenal job. Speaking of Kumospace, I was taking a look at it, and it kind of reminded me of a WeWork and a video game. Like, how did that concept come together where you're able to make something that's so playful, but then still have that work ethic or that work concept behind it?
Yeah, you nailed it. We like to say the productivity of video chat and the fun of video games. It's funny. I've been doing my fund Charge Venture since 2015, so I guess we're coming up on 8 years now. And when we see a good business that's big market, big demand, high margin, recurring revenue, possibility of moats, usually I just would try to give them money, right? Like, it's a lot easier to give someone money and then say, hey, let me know Let me know when you sell and send me a check. That's a lot easier than building, right? So normally when I see a potentially lucrative business, like I just try to invest. But in this particular case, I really felt the pain myself, which was, when I Charge Ventures before the pandemic, we used to get deals as we used to have a monthly networking event with a bunch of, I would say mid-career professionals, people in their 30s, 40s that didn't really want to go into the networking event for noobs and people just starting, which are totally cool. And I was, definitely put in my time there, but, eventually, you kind of phase out of that. Maybe you've got kids, but you still want to stay relevant, still want to stay in the mix. Um, so we used to throw a monthly event for folks like that. It was around angel investing. People were sharing deals and meeting other interesting people. They were trying to give back. And then the pandemic came, and the question, it was like everyone said, "Okay, Brett, why don't you take this online? Why don't you do it over Zoom?" And I was like, "Man, I really do not want to give a PowerPoint presentation to 50 of my friends every month. That does not sound fun for me. It does not sound fun for them." And so kind of realized that wow, it's weird. There's no really great sort of tool, even in 2020, to have groups of people kind of connect and organically and, mingle in small groups and move from group to group organically in 2020. And so I reached out to, my longtime friend and, co-founder of all of my, companies over the past 10 years, Yang Mao. And, I said, hey, look at this problem. It's weird that there's, no tool for this. And the classic Yang Mao fashion, he came back 2 weeks later with the prototype. And, we were playing with this early prototype of Kumospace. And we instantly could tell that there was kind of a new primitive for interaction there. A new way for groups of people to connect online in real time using video chat as the medium, but to make it kind of not as like a straitjacket like Zoom, you're into these Brady Bunch boxes and it's just like very static. It's not very interesting, but to make it more kind of open and fluid and organic, like a video game, to your point. And so that was the origin of Kumospace. And so we started building in the spring of 2020, launched in that summer, and then, just been off to the races ever since, raised a seed at the end of that year and then raised an A, last year from Lightspeed. And, people can use it for a lot of things. People use it for school. They use it for socialization. They use it for virtual events. But, we really sort of zeroed in on this kind of like virtual office use case, which is like, hey, there's all these people. Everyone's working from home. Right during the pandemic, people were working from home all the time. Now, some people are sort of back in the office, sort of not. A lot of people are hybrid, but they maybe only go in 1 or 2 days a week. It's like, you're sitting at your desk all day. You're grinding, you're working 12 hours a day, you're on Zoom, you're on Slack, you're in your documents, but it's lonely, right? You don't feel connected to your coworkers the way you did when you used to, be in an office with them. You'd catch up over lunch, you'd play a little ping pong, you'd tap the person on the shoulder and ask them for, some help with the thing you were working on, maybe a little feedback on the presentation you were putting together. And so we felt like that was really missing. And so that's what we've ultimately focused Kumospace on, which is like, how do you create a place to show up every day to get your work done, to collaborate with other people, to see your team, to be seen by your managers, and let them know you're doing good work, to get the help you need as an early employee, and to just connect. Not feel like I'm a little automaton just getting beeped at by Slack, and I'm a little green dot as the status, but I'm actually a person, and I'm here to connect with my coworkers. And so that's kind of the vision with Kumospace, and it's really fun to build. If you ever want to try it out, I'm happy to host.
I would love to. I think that the idea, the concept behind it was amazing. Yeah. And it's engaging too. So, but my question is what's the expectation in let's say for the next, let's say 5 years to 10 years, what's the expectation? Are you looking to expand on it? Or is it something that you're looking to potentially exit? What's the game plan?
In the same way that it took me 8 years between this company and to start this company from my last company. We're not thinking short term about this at all. We think that we're remote work is going to be the biggest probably change to the way that people work since
Hmm.
industrial revolution, right? It's like all of a sudden, you can work from anywhere. You can, work with anyone from anywhere at any time. And so we think that you need an entirely new tech stack to do that, right? If you think about like, what are the tools most people use for remote work, right? They use Zoom, they use Slack, they use Google Meet. They maybe they use like a project management tool like Monday or Jira or something like that. But these tools were all built pre work from home revolution, right? They were built, these tools were not built that. They were basically built for people sitting in office to occasionally, chat with someone on a different floor of an office or to teleconference with, another department in it, maybe in another headquarters, right? But like, why would those be the perfect tools for this completely different way of work where now everyone's working from home or working from anywhere? Maybe, I actually started Kumospace. I was in my mom's house during the pandemic, and then eventually I was living in, Costa Rica, by the beach surfing every morning, right? And so why would the tools that were built before be the right thing? And I think for me, it was just like, man, if this is the end of history, if like Zoom is going to be the best tool for working for the next 50 years, like that's a sad world. I don't want to live in that world. So, we think it could be a lot better than it is. We think we're just getting started. People are spending 6 hours a day working in Kumospace. That's a lot of time. And so if people are going to really entrust us with investing that much time in our product, we got to really build a lot of great tools for them to use. So, we like to think we're just getting started. There's a lot of upside. The TAM on this is massive, and so we got a lot of work to do before we sell.
I like that. I like that. Listen, starting out, what was the one thing that made a significant impact that helped you to scale that you think that you're going to be able to implement throughout to different startups, to different companies, or even in Kumospace? What was that one thing when you were starting out that had that significant impact?
Well, look, as as my girlfriend points out, I have like 2.5 jobs, right? Between Kumospace, Charge Ventures, and then teaching at Columbia. And I think a lot of like advice, good advice, is to like focus, and like good things take a lot of work and are really hard to build, and you really need to focus. And so, but I'm one of these. I like to do a lot of things. I got a lot of interests, right? And so, the 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 probably biggest trick that I've learned is that you can do a lot of things as long as they all reinforce each other. So if you do a bunch of different things, but they don't reinforce each other, then you just get you don't make progress on anything, right? You get pulled in a bunch of different directions and you never move anywhere. But if everything you do pushes forward all the other things that you do, if you can really align your different work streams so that they're all rowing in the same direction, then you can do a lot of things at the same time. And that's been really helpful for me. So, a lot of my work, and it's by no means done, is to like make sure that I get value, for charge, my fund, out of the work that I do at Kumospace. So how can I take the work I do at Kumospace, the promotion I do at Kumospace, the learnings I do at Kumospace, and apply them in Charge Ventures? So a good example of that is, we've learned how to scale to millions of users at Kumospace, and we learned influencer marketing as a channel. My head of marketing, Drew Moffat, great growth guy. He didn't know anything about influencer marketing, but he went in there, he figured it out. He got us running a program with dozens of influencers posting multiple times every month, right? No small task for one person. And that really helped us grow a lot of my startups. And so we used the tool that I had invested in, Brand, run by this guy, Brandon Brown, ex Red Bull, basically wrote the book on influencer marketing. He built software, SaaS, to scale up influencer marketing operations. So, we use a tool from a company I invested in to scale up influencer marketing at the company that I co-founded, and then all the subsequent companies that I invest in, they all want to learn how to use influencer marketing as a growth channel, and I can really help them, like hands-on tactical knowledge about how to do it, because I've taken a company from zero to millions of users multiple times, and so those are like, it's very synergistic, right? So I'm just constantly trying to like make sure all those work streams are pushing and rowing in the same direction, and that's how I can try my best to do multiple things at the same time.
How do you get that singularity of focus, that hyper focus?
There's it's a Japanese word. Let's see. It's I'm probably gonna pronounce this so poorly, but it's uh, ik, how do I do this? Ikigai. Um, Ikigai, I think is what it's called, and it means it's translated a reason for being, and and it's funny because I actually thought of this concept before, but I never had a word for it. And then someone showed it to me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is it." And so, what I would always give people as career advice is like, you're trying to find um, something that you're good at, something that you love doing, and something that the market will pay you for. And when you can find the intersection of those things, right? This is the same concept. Is that sometimes you have things that you love but you can't get paid for, and things that you're good at but you don't love. But if you can get the overlap of those things, that's where the goal is. And so, actually, the fourth thing that you know uh, they add to that is like what basically like gives you purpose, right? So like what gives you purpose, like in meaning. And so that's the four concepts you add that. And so when you can get all those things together, and so I guess for me, I love building, and I love like supporting people to follow their dreams. And so um, you know charge and investing in entrepreneurs, I just get to like partner with really passionate people trying to follow their dreams and build something and change the world, and being able to just like devote all my energy into that. It's like it simplifies everything. Like that's all I want to do. I don't want to think about anything else, and I never feel bad. I never have any FOMO about not being able to do anything else.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. There's a book I read. I forgot the name of it, but I'm gonna try to get it and put it in the description. But it says some entrepreneurs are either starters or they're finishers. The starters like to build, and then you have the finishers who are into the process. And it's very rare that you have an entrepreneur that has the combination of both, becoming a starter, which they like to create and build, and becoming a finisher, where they like to be in the weed, in the details, in the process to finish it through. Which one would you say you have? Do you have the combination of both, or would you say that you're mostly a starter that you like to build?
I think if I'm being honest, I'm definitely better at getting things off the ground and pulling in talented people to close. um, Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no question about that. I like getting things started. I like pulling together smart people in a room. I think once it becomes about optimization, there's probably better suited people for that than me.
Yeah, that's good to know. Let's go back to Kumospace. So now that where it's at in the journey right now is, um are you content with? I know you're not content. I know you wanted to scale some more, but what is it about Kumospace that's separate from the other businesses that you started, that you say that you have this passion for, that you want to see it succeed all the way through?
Yeah, I think what made it different for me was if you look at all the companies I've built, it's Sonar, Switcher, Kumospace, they all involve sort of using technology to connect people in novel and more natural, sort of authentic human ways, right? So like, I'm very interested in how we can use technology to connect more authentically. And, um, so for me, it's like there's lots of ways to make money, but this was a passion of mine. And, when I see people enter Kumospace and connect with each other and a smile crosses their face and like, oh, this is so cool. Or, we used to get, in the pandemic, it was crazy. People were using it for all sorts of things. They were having weddings in Kumospace. They was having, funerals, wakes in Kumospace, graduations. People still actually do that, a lot of that. And just like, I got invited to a German American couple that had their wedding, and they invited us, and that was just amazing, right? Like, we had to play a small part in that, and built technology that facilitated all these different families from across the world to connect and celebrate that moment. That's it, man. That's the best thing in life for me, is to get to experience that. And so yeah, like, you might probably can make more money it's probably easier to make money, building some obscure SaaS tool that solves a very valuable problem. But for that doesn't do it for me the same way. I'd rather just invest in that. Building Kumospace is personal.
Yeah. What I liked about when I was doing the research is the fact that you can communicate with people within that circumference. There's a circle, a barrier that you can communicate with. And if you walk out of that barrier, then you're no longer within that circle of the communication piece. And what I enjoyed about that is because you can go from room to room, environment to environment, space to space, and walk away and still venture off. You can still basically you're sightseeing the way it come across to me. You're sightseeing, you're saying like, it's as if I'm walking down the street and I'm going inside and I'm going bar hopping. I'm going from this conversation, I'm walking, and I'm going to that next conversation, and I exit out of the circle of the circumference. And I'm not being overwhelmed by their conversation or that person's conversation. I get to choose where I want to go and where I want to interact. And I thought that was like mind blowing.
I mean, I think you maybe described it better than I could. I love a good house party. I love dropping in the conversation. If it's good, stick around. If it's not, move on to the next. And I felt like we felt like existing video chat was not like that. It was you were very locked. You were locked in. It wasn't fun. Everyone's got their video off, and they're like just tuned out, right? And so in Kumospace, if the conversation isn't interesting, we just walk away. You'll have a conversation with someone else, and I feel like it's just like real life, right? You have more freedom, you have more autonomy, and it just creates for more organic, kind of authentic interaction than in a work context, right? It actually behaves more like a real office, right? In an office, you don't just have one conversation going on where one person's talking and everyone else is listening. You have a bunch of people in different rooms, products working on products, sales is selling, and customer support is changing people, but it's all happening in the same place, and you as a team member can seamlessly walk between those interactions. And so that's why that ultimately that new form factor we invented became so applicable to virtual offices and giving people a place to gather, but then have bunch of different conversations in the same place, just like an office.
No, phenomenal. Before we wrap this up, because it's been amazing, this show is about getting people started, especially into the startup area or into any part of entrepreneurship. What is the one thing that you can recommend to get people started into their career, into their path, into the journey of becoming an entrepreneur, or just anything that they desire in life?
It's funny, when my first little blog that I had, it was called "Time to Get Started," and what's that advice? I mean, maybe one thing is to think about what is preventing you from doing it, and then asking, really pushing through that and asking, following that to its end, there's probably something you're afraid of, there's some conclusion, and then actually really pushing through that fear and saying, okay, what if it failed? What happened? What would really be the worst that would happen if I failed? And look, it's true, entrepreneurship, it's hard to do when your back is truly against the wall, right? If you have no money, if you have no resources, if you're working paycheck to paycheck, man, it's possible, but it is hard, right? So there is a bit of there's definitely a bit of privilege to be able to start a company, and I've benefited from that, and a lot of entrepreneurs have. But that said, a lot of people who are doing well, they got a good job, that and they're so afraid about getting started. They're so afraid of what they might lose, and if those people actually really think through it, it's like, oh, well, what's the worst case? You go back and get a job. You know what I mean? You go back and you get another job if it doesn't work out, right? How bad is that? Is that really? Oh, you lost a year of money. I mean, you know how many years I have made $0? It's more than I'd like to share on this podcast. So, I think really think through what the worst could be, and I think you'll realize it's actually not that bad. So, just take the jump.
Thank you for that. Final question: if you had everything you wanted, what is the one thing that you would be doing right now? If money wasn't an object, and what is that one thing that you wish for, or you would probably be doing right now?
I mean, look, until we succeed with Kumospace, and we've really made remote work a much more pleasant, productive, and authentically human experience, then the work is not done. But when we get that done, I'm probably gonna be a DJ. I think that's the plan.
Really?
Yeah, I gotta learn something about music first.
What's your favorite song?
What's my favorite song? I don't know. I used to like the song this band called Wolf Parade. It's I Believe in Anything. That's an indie rock. That's an indie rock song from back when we used to be an indie rock band. But it's got a good message. It's like I'll believe in anything, whatever it takes.
And that would be your genre if you were to play DJ. If you were to become a DJ.
Oh no, I'll probably do deep house or something like that. Something got to be a little more timely. I'm exposing how old I am. No one listens to indie rock anymore.
Well, Brett Mon, thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. Any final words? Anything you'd like to share?
No, Stanley, thank you so much for having me, and I love the message you're putting out there. Just getting people riled up and getting them to go after their dreams. Let's go.
Just like your blog, it starts now. So let's get people motivated, get people inspired, and to change the world, have an impact. That's the least we could do to pass it down.
Well, thank you, sir, and wishing all your listeners the best. Hit me up on Twitter if I can help out, or LinkedIn, and talk to you soon.
No problem. I will definitely have your information down in the description below. So, but in case you want to share your LinkedIn or your...
Oh, yeah. Just Brett Lucas Martin on LinkedIn, or Brett1211 on Twitter.
Thank you, Brett.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Have a good one, and good luck with the DJ when everything is done.
Yeah, I'll hit you up. Just I'll be shilling my singles.
Everything starts out as a hobby, and then it becomes a profession.
Exactly. You got to start somewhere.
Got to start somewhere. There you go. Brett, thank you once again. Appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, Stanley. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye.